You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
Hello there, and welcome to Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff here on Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets, and that's why I'm here, to Let's Talk Pets. I'm here to answer your questions, talk about anything you want when it comes to your dogs, cats, or whatever. Number of ways to get a hold of me. You can either actually call in to 877-385-8882. Once again, 877-385-8882. You can actually write me if you're online here at Pet Life Radio and just start typing away, and I'll see the alert, and I'll type you back, or I'll actually even go ahead and answer your question online and give you credit. In fact, if you call us, like Sarah did last week and Sean did the week before, we will send you some free product from our sponsor, ProSense Pet Products. So you let me know whether you have a dog or a cat, how old your dog or cat is, and we'll send you out something for free just for having the courage, the guts to give us a call here on Pet Life Radio and ask away. You can also send me an email to drjeff@petliferadio.com. I had a good week. I actually last Thursday to go to Chicago, and I love town. It's a great town. AVMA, the American Veterinary Medical Association meeting, is the one that changes cities every year. And it just so happens that the AVMA is based in Schaumburg, Illinois, which is a suburb. I think that, I don't know Chicago very well. I think they say it's a suburb about northwest of Chicago. But what a great town. The weather was amazing. It was so gorgeous and hot. Oh, my God, it's muggy during the day. And they have a great set of restaurants. The town of Chicago is just great. And plenty of places to eat. The convention hall was fantastic. There was a great meeting, a great conference, some new things. We see a lot of things. And new procedures, new drugs. Oh, my God. I don't know if we talked about the new drug coming out by one of the big companies. It is Zoetis. And Zoetis is a company that is the offshoot on the veterinary division, the animal division of Pfizer Animal Health. So Pfizer Animal Health, which division of obviously the big monster Pfizer, is now called Zoetis. And they are coming on with a great product, which I'm going to share with you in a minute. But we have a caller online with us. I want to get to our callers first. I'm going to come back and talk about this new fantastic product from Zoetis. Hello, caller.
Hi.
Hi.
I'm calling because my name is Richard. I'm calling because thank you. I'm calling because I've got a puppy who's about 9 months old.
Uh-huh.
And he's a cross between a Shih Tzu and a Terrier.
Okay.
So he's about 20-25 pounds.
Right.
And he's very healthy, but whenever we leave him, he tends to get pretty bad diarrhea, which I think is a result of stress.
Absolutely.
So the question is there either a medicine we can give him to reduce the stress or help his diarrhea, or should we change his diet when we're going to be away?
Well, here's the thing. First of all, that is puppies. They get very excited, nervous, and this is what happens. They get stressful. So I would recommend, I don't think it's a matter of changing diet, because sometimes that in of itself can cause more problems even when you're not going away. So that might backfire on you. One of the things I would like to see you do is to start minimizing the stress. How do you do that? Well, what he's experiencing is probably under the realm of what we call separation anxiety. He is getting so worked up, probably even before you leave, based on some of the clues that you are giving as you're preparing to leave, that by the time you leave, his world is caving in on him, and he's just having a tough time handling it. So a couple of things you need to do. First of all, you need to start minimizing the cues that you're giving when you're starting to leave. Meaning, if you're getting your keys and you're getting your bag and whatever it is, do that even before you leave, and maybe put it outside the front door or a back door, wherever it is, however you leave, several minutes before you actually go. Another thing is you, I'm sure as a 9-month-old puppy, you're doing a lot of playing with him. And there are certain toys that he is recognizing as toys that you play with him, as opposed to some toys that if you're not currently using, you want to try to find that he, in a sense, can play with by himself. And that's also very important, because we need to start eliminating the reminders of you. So when you're starting to leave and you're preparing to go, anything that you see around the house that is typically a toy that you play with him, you want to start putting away. and get him started on one of his, okay, buddy, here's your toys that you play with by yourself. These are toys that might deliver some sort of treat by themselves. There are so many toys that will actually self-reward, self-reinforce as they play. And you want to start using that. And also, for about a half hour before you leave, start minimizing the direct contact you have with the puppy. I mean, don't be mean and don't ignore him, but just don't be as, friendly and as warm and cuddly. He has to start learning about independence. Another thing you can do is there is some pheromone sprays that are very effective that can sort of calm him down. There are also some natural calming supplements that have things like chamomile and passion flower and valerian root. So those are some nice things that are very safe, very effective, that you can use as well as for example, the Adaptic, which is made by Seva, formerly DAP, dog appeasing pheromone. And you can use that and spray that in his area. Again, before you leave, it sort of will settle him down a little bit. Another thing you can start doing is start practicing with him. And that is have him do all this stuff, leave the house as if you're going away like you normally do. But I want you to wait about 2 minutes or 3 minutes and then come back in. And when you come back in, don't go nuts when you see him. Typically, when you're gone all day and you finally come home, what do? What's your puppy's name?
Boo.
Okay. Boo! Oh my God, Boo, how you doing? Good. Oh, you're such a good boy, right? So meanwhile, he is looking so forward to that's one of the reasons why he's getting so anxious when you're gone. So when you come home, when you have a dog that separation anxiety, kind of walk in like, who the heck are you? Just kind of ignore him for a few minutes. And when you do start giving him some attention, do it more subtly. And then you start increasing and reward him for being so good. And then you do the same thing and you leave for 5 minutes and then for 15 minutes. And the whole idea is he'll never know when you're coming home, but he knows you're coming home. And when you come home, you're going to come in, you're going to give him a nice pat on the head. You're not going to go crazy. You'll give him a food reward for being so good, behaving so well. And that's how they learn to, A, not miss you so much and not go so crazy looking forward to your return, but it becomes part of routine. And we need to make his Boo, you're being gone. His routine is he gets to play with himself, by himself. When he comes home, he knows he's going to get a little treat. But you don't want to make it like you're such hot stuff, that he's going to miss you.
That's a great idea.
So much.
Really appreciate it.
All right. So try that stuff. Go one at a time. Go slow. The calming powders and formulas you can find, make sure they're natural. And I said the Adaptic spray or collar is also a collar by DAP that might help chill his personality out a little bit. All right?
All right.
Excellent.
Thank you. That's wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Richard, thanks for calling. And if you want to call back to Pet Life Radio and ask for Mark, you'll give him all your information. We'll send you out something. We'll probably send you out a nice puppy vitamin for Boo.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right?
You have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling. Okay, so anyway, we want to thank Richard for calling. We're going to ship him out a bottle of my ProSense puppy vitamins that we can make sure Bo grows up to be a nice, strong, healthy pup. Anyway, so here at the trade show, there's lots of new things. We're talking about the new company Zoetis, and one of the things you notice, especially when you're living in a warm climate, and pretty much this time of year, everywhere is a warm climate, and we see a lot of allergic disease when it's moist, like Chicago, because of the humidity, and most places in the southeast, southwest, the northeast. The only place that's really, really dry this time of year is like in the deserts, like Nevada. So we see a lot of skin problems. We see a lot of fleas, and we see a lot of allergic skin disease, pollens, molds, weeds, grasses, etc. Well, we have never really had a direct method of treating pet allergy because we never had the equivalent of the histamine identified in dogs. By that I mean when we have in people, when there are cells that respond to the allergic stimuli, they release a substance called histamine. It is histamine, the transmitter that is causing it's a mediator of the inflammatory response. It's causing all the problems that we start feeling, from the runny eyes, runny nose, the itchy neck, whatever. Well, histamine doesn't play a huge role in the canine allergy. So the mediators that did were not blockable, and therefore we would have to rely on a broad spectrum type of anti-inflammatory, anti-itch, immunosuppressants to treat severe canine allergy. Steroids was one, cyclosporine is another. Well, the folks at Zoetis have identified a cellular mediator responsible for the canine inflammatory / allergic response and a drug to block it. So now we will have the equivalent of an antihistamine for dogs. And the drug is going to be released. They've already passed FDA. They're looking for a first quarter release, and that's going to be great. And that's kind of one of the things that we've learned about. There's also some new flea products out there. One that's relatively new by Merck, hasn't really hit the market yet. It's trying, called Activil, tested very well in the labs. I will say that one of the labs I spoke to, Comfortis and Trifexis, have done very well. Vectra has done very well. So there are some really, really good products out there. I also met somebody that had a fantastic product that I really liked a lot. And it is a microchip and, more importantly, a microchip registry. And the reason why more importantly is because a lot of you, I'm sure, and rightly so, already have your pet's microchip. So you don't have to go run out and get another chip. You can register with this registry. But if you don't have a microchip, you definitely want to look into this company. They're just launching now. Don't even have the name of it yet, but it's really, really a great product. Here's how it works. When you register, you're going to get an aluminum tag. So, I mean, it's a tag that's going to last. And it's going to have a number, the microchip number on it, and a phone number, and it's going to say, Google this number. So when you go on to your Google on your phone, your smartphone, the box comes up. In that box that says Google, all you have to do is put in the tag number. That's going to immediately bring up a page, and you're going to write in your contact info. Mind you, you're the finder. And if you want to put a message, hi, I found your dog, he's adorable, whatever. As soon as you hit send, the owner of the dog is going to get an instant alert to their phone. And it's going to say, hi, my name is John, and I have your dog. And then a Google map is going to pop up immediately. With your phone on, it knows your location. And the guy or girl or woman that found your dog, it's going to have his or her location. And you're going to have one of those Google Maps with an A and a B. And you can see exactly where the person is standing that spot with your dog or pet or cat, whatever. And then the camera, the satellite picture comes up, and you can actually see their house. You'll be able to see them standing there, hopefully holding your pet. How cool is that? And I mean, you think something like this is super expensive. It's not. Registration's like $20, a one-time fee, no annual fee. So I think this is fantastic technology. And keep tuning in. We'll talk about it. If you want to send me some questions about it, specifics, I'll get you the name. I think veterinarians are just learning about it now, as did I. So I don't even have it yet. I don't have the registration forms. I told the guy to send them out to me so I can start re-registering my current patients that have microchips, and that's a lot, onto this. And it doesn't preclude you. If you're registered with one of the other companies like 24 Hour or Home Again or Avid, makes no difference. You can register to both. And it's just a great way to actually put you in direct contact with the person that finds your pet, whether it's a shelter, whether it's another veterinary hospital, or whether it's a Good Samaritan individual who is walking along and saw your dog running around, looking frightened, and wants to do something for your poor little guy. So I think it's a great idea. Other things we learned, of course, diets. We're learning so much more about foods. One of the speakers I heard was just having us use a bit more caution if we insist on cooking our own pet's food. Not to say that it can't be done, but just warning us that you really should work with a veterinary nutritionist just to make sure you're adding all the correct supplements in the right amounts as far as the vitamins and the minerals, the essential amino acids. These are things that do separate us from our pets and actually separate dogs from cats. So there are certain things, if you're going to have a home-cooked diet for a cat, you need to make sure your cat gets enough taurine. Because with taurine deficiency, that can lead to certain types of heart disease called cardiomyopathy. And I mean, you're not going to go to a health food store and say, I want to buy some taurine. And if you do, you're not going to know how much to add. So it's one of those things where it's very, very, very important to work with a pro when you're going to use things like that. I think it's important. Anyway, we are approaching our midway point in the show. So I want to have you go ahead, and we're going to take a quick break. I want to thank once again our sponsor, ProSense Pet Products. You can find these products. They're basically manufactured, developed by us, the veterinary team at ProSense, United Pet Group, for you, but available to you at the mass market level, which means your big stores, which means also very, very affordable, great products that the equivalents you can find at a vet hospital, but it's going to cost you 2 to 3 times as much. So we'll be back in just one second here at Pet Life Radio, and you're on the air with Jeff Werber, Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff.
We'll be right back, right after these messages. Stay tuned.
Your dog digs a hole under your fence, and the next thing you know, protect your pets with Dig Defense, the amazing new product that keeps your pets in the yard. Dig Defense is safe, fast, and easy. Each unit is made from 4-gauge galvanized American steel and can be used for repairing digouts, filling gaps, or to hold fences down so pets can't get under them. Dig Defense provides peace of mind that your pets are contained humanely and safely. Visit digdefense.com today. DIGDEFENCE.com.
Are you crazy about cats? If so, check out The World is Your Litter Box, Deluxe Edition. This clever how-to manual for cats, written by a cat named Quasi, contains more laughs than should be allowable in one book, and is poignantly underscored by the combative yet loving relationship between Quasi and his human. The World is Your Litter Box, Deluxe Edition, is guaranteed to have you laughing your tail off. So, treat yourself to a copy today. Available from Amazon.
Dog Shelter Blues, the new novel by Mark Conkling. This hard-hitting story lights up the world of animal rescue with engaging characters and their pets, struggling with their own internal demons as they attempt to rescue innocent creatures that sometimes bring a mysterious transforming power to broken lives. Read the first chapter of Dog Shelter Blues free at dogshelterblues.com. Then come along a breathtaking journey that ends with an astonishing triumph of good over evil. Order your copy of Dog Shelter Blues today. Available at Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com.
I Love My Pets, the new single by Mark Winter, available on iTunes.
Hi, this is Tim Link, host of Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Join me as we feature interviews with best-selling pet-related authors, award-winning writers, journalists, and bloggers. And we'll tell stories about the animals and interesting topics about the animals in our lives. Each of the interviews will give you a first-hand knowledge about why the authors and writers chose a particular story, what the feature animals meant to them, and what has become of those animals that we've talked about. And of course, I'll also share stories from my own books, blogs, articles, and experiences. So be sure to join me and the writers and authors on Animal Rights.
Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
And welcome back to Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff. I am Dr. Jeff Werber, your host for what's left of this half hour here at Pet Life Radio. And again, we want to hear from you. We heard from Richard. Richard's going to get a free ProSense puppy vitamin for Boo, his little cute little Shih Tzu Terrier puppy. And just think, all you have to do is call and ask a question, and we'll get you some product as well. And so easy it is. All you have to do is call us at 877-385-8882. Or you can just, if you're online listening to us here at Pet Life Radio, just at the bottom of that little box on the Ask the Vets with Dr. Jeff page, just type in a question, and I will answer it. And you can make it anonymous if you're embarrassed or shy, or give me your name, and I'll call the question out and your name. Or you can also, I'm sitting here, and you can send me a message. You can also maybe, I don't know if you can join us on Skype, because we're on Skype, but to Dr. Jeff at PetLifeRadio.com. So we were talking about the AVMA, the American Veterinary Medical Association meeting. It's one of the big, maybe 5 meetings a year that many vets go to. They're the national meetings. So we have every January is the North American Veterinary Conference, and that's in Orlando. Next month in February You have the Western Veterinary Conference. That's every year in Las Vegas. Then in every March is AAHA, the American Animal Hospital Association. And that, like the AVMA, which is usually every July, is the one that changes cities every year. And they try to, just that way everybody gets a chance to have a chance hosting one of the big meetings. And then next month, at the end of the month, I think it's August 23rd, off to Kansas City for Central Veterinary Conference. And the CVC, it's one of these growing conferences. I think it's now in operation. I think they're celebrating their 25th anniversary. I remember, when I started practicing 30 years ago, that there was no CVC, and I've watched it grow. I speak there a lot. It is actually sponsored and hosted by AdvanceStar Communications. AdvanceStar also puts out Veterinary Economics Magazine, the #1 read magazine, and I happen to be on the board of Veterinary Economics. So I often, attend a meeting at the CVC, and I often speak at the CVC, which is the main one, which is Kansas City every August, or they also have one in the East, and usually in Baltimore, and one in the West in San Diego. But I have just watched these trade shows grow and grow and grow. The North American Veterinary Conference has 2 exhibit halls because it's so massive that they've gone from 1 hotel to 2 hotels, and they have conferences, the talks at both of the hotels. That's how huge these conferences are getting. And the biggest thing is that when you learn, and this was a point that was just driven into us back when we were in veterinary school, and it's a frightening fact that every 5 years, half of what was accepted as gospel is now obsolete. That means when I pull out old notes, and I'm a pack rat, so I still have old textbooks from when I was in school. These are textbooks that were published in the mid and late 70s. And I open them now, and it is so funny. They're talking medications, drugs, procedures that we don't ever do anymore. So that's why when you've been out of school, it is not only critical, but it's essential and mandatory that we get these continuing education seminars, that we go to them, because without it, when you think of every 5 years, half of what was accepted as the major gospel is obsolete, then you can imagine. So when you're out 30 years, that's 6 5-year periods. Okay, so 5 years, half, and another 5 years, another half of that, you're down to a quarter, then you're down to an eighth and a 16th. Basically everything is new. And it's funny because whenever I have new associates, young associates, just having graduated, done their internships, and they'll laugh at some of the things that we still talk about, because they look at some of these older books that we have, because I have them here in the hospital, we have a library. They were worth something. I think they're worth saving just because it's amazing when you see how things have changed over the years. But when you go to these conferences, you go to these trade shows, that's what's so great about them, because it's a fantastic way to learn from most of these speakers at the university level, experts in their fields. And instead of sitting in a classroom again, because obviously we can't go back to school, we are getting from these conferences, and I go to a lot of them, 4 or 5 a year, just the information that is going to keep us current. And it's so interesting that I'll get a referral from a person, and I'm looking at the records, or I'm talking to them on the phone, and they will tell me that the doctor used some drug. And I will say, I'll bet you that this doctor was like 65. And they go, he was pretty old. And I said, because I don't know of anybody using that drug anymore. So that's one of the reasons why when I first went into business, I joined my ex-boss, and we worked together when I was his technician for a number of years. And it wasn't until I got out of school and learning things relatively new back then, this is in the early 80s, that I realized that relatively some of the stuff that he was doing was a bit antiquated. And it wasn't until he went to a trade show, and one of the things I afforded him was the ability to go leave the office for a couple of days. That's the thing, we're all workaholics, so we love being in our hospers, to actually go to a trade show to get some what we call CE, continuing education. And he came back and he said, boy, he says, I learned one thing. I learned a lot of things, he says, but one thing I learned is how much my new associate knows. And so that's why it's so important. And I just value the information that I gleaned from my young associates, because it's a great way to learn. I always joke I'm going to continue to hire new associates. So that way I'm always getting continuing education just by being at work every day. So these meetings are great. And I said, I learned a lot. There's some new products coming out. You should certainly check with your veterinarians. Meds, medications, drugs, behavior is always a hot topic. Rehab is a hot topic. It's also really great to see how many of your traditional veterinarians are accepting some of the new modalities like acupuncture, like chiropractic, like true physical therapy, like herbs, things that some of the old timers never accept. They used to laugh and call it voodoo. And now we're seeing the major, major benefits and health advantages to these products. So anyway, I want to thank Richard, our caller. Hopefully Boo grows up to be a nice, healthy pup who survives. I hope Richard survives this separation anxiety. And we're going to get out some puppy vitamins. For those of you who almost had the courage and guts to call but didn't, I'm going to almost thank you, but not quite yet. But really, I'm here next week. If you want to get some free product, get some questions answered, go ahead and give us a call here at Pet Life Radio, 877-385-8882. If you want to send me an email during the week, anytime, drjeff@petliferadio.com. Once again, thanks to ProSense, Walmart, Target, all those good retailers that carry the ProSense products. We will see you here next Thursday.
Let's Talk Pets, every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.